What camp were you in, and who were you with from your family in the camp?
When the war started, it was when the war started in what you call it in September 19. The war started. I was with my family in Lodge. So and then from time to so me, my mother, and two brothers, we were in the Lodge ghetto, and my father with three sisters were in another place. And then from there, in the beginning we used to correspond and we could write letters, and then it stopped completely. So I found out later on, from there they sent them down to another camp where they, like a kind of an Auschwitz, and they got rid of them. One day they took my mother, and we were still the three brothers together, and they took my mother, and I said to my brother, I was the oldest at home. Before the war, I was 17 years old. I said to my brother, how can we let my mother, who is in her 40s, let by herself? So I said to my mother, we not can let you go. We all go with you. No one was going with somebody else because we don't know where we are going. But she has some kind of a feeling that wherever she goes is not good. So she says, no one is going with me. If you are going with me now, I commit suicide right now in the street. And she didn't go. She just went where they asked her to go. And that was the end of her, till they got there to this Auschwitz. When we got to Auschwitz, we came to Auschwitz, men left, some people go right. People with children left. Older people left. Young people went right. And the one who left, for sure didn't survive. They went right away to the gas chambers. The one on the right, some of them survived after, when they made selections in Auschwitz, and some did not. So I happened to be on the right side because I was a young girl, and they just selected me to go to work. When I got there, I see on the other side, I saw my brother too, because when they came for my other brother, he just went. But my other brother didn't ask, and my mother said, we follow her, that if someone wants to come for you, you go by yourself. If they come again, you go also by yourself. No one was going with no one because we don't know where we're going, So I was liberated with them, and out in Salzwedel was a factory of ammunition. And from there, after the war, I didn't want to go back to Poland, because Poland didn't like the Jews at all, never. Even before the war, they were very big anti-Semites. They didn't like the Jews, so I didn't want to go back there any day. So at that time, I didn't know that I have a brother left. I thought that, who knows where he was. But being in the DP camp, I had a friend who went to Israel, and I still was there. I was waiting, maybe somebody will survive. My brother went to Israel at that time, but not knowing that he had someone from his family alive. So when he found this girl, she told him, you have a sister who is still alive. He couldn't believe it. And I registered to go to America. But to say the truth, I didn't want to go to America because I did not have any relatives here anymore. Anybody. Even before the war, like some people had relatives, in America. And my brother was on his way to Israel. So actually I did wanted not to go to America. So anyway, so then after a while, I met my husband, and he had, I had a paper from the joint for me to go to America. I met my husband, and we got married, and he had papers from his relatives. He had papers to go to America. So we got married, and he asked my husband, my brother, who was in Israel already, and he lived in a kibbutz. You know what a kibbutz is?
Yes.
He lived in a kibbutz, said, what is your husband doing? He makes a living, he has a profession, he has money. I says, none of those things. He has nothing, I said, just himself. So, he said, I asked my brother, what do you think, what should we do? Should we go to go to Israel from here? Or, he says, for you, if you want to stay in a kibbutz, he says, that's fine, you can come to America, to Israel. If you don't want to stay in a kibbutz, then you're going to have a hard time making a living. So I says, why do I have to start struggling again? So we decided, I have papers from America, from the joint. My husband has relatives from his relatives here to America. We got married, and we came to America. After the war, when I discovered that I lost my whole family, that no one is alive, I just went crazy, you know. I couldn't cope with it. I just couldn't cope with it, you know, that I lost my whole family. And I felt that I'm just going crazy. So I said to myself, if I'm going to go crazy, it's going to be even worse than not that to be having such a horrible life and being on top of it crazy too. So I thought to myself, I have to put myself in my head and make believe that what happened, it happened, and do whatever the other people who did go through the same thing go through. Some had sisters, some have cousins. I had nobody. But that's the way life goes on. So then, you know, after the war wasn't easy for us. It was very hard because we couldn't make a living. How much could I make? I couldn't go to work because I have 2 little girls. And my husband made very little money. But, you know, with me, not being a spender, I could make from my boss. I had a boss who used to say, if I give you a penny and I tell you what to do with this penny, what would you do if you spend it? He says, I would have nothing. So the guy asked him, and if I give you a penny and I give you another penny, how much would you have? He says, 2. He says, that's accordingly you're going to make your life. If you're going to make from a penny to a penny and a penny and a penny, you're going to make $1. To realize how painful it is to lose a whole family. I don't even have no pictures of my family, because when I came to Auschwitz, they took away all our belongings, even some pictures, what I thought I'm going to save, that I can know who my parents are. If my parents, I mean, I talk now, I'm myself an old woman, would have come in years ago, and he would say he's my father, I wouldn't know who he was. I couldn't recognize him. That's very, very, very painful. I wouldn't recognize my father. I wouldn't know who he was. It's terrible, isn't it? But what you going to do? That's life.